All right, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. How are you guys doing today? Testing, testing, testing. All right, good deal, good deal. We'll get started here in about 1 minute. Appreciate you guys being here with us today. Real quick, if you can, how many of you currently have a Nadex account? Type in yes or no. If you're demo account, you can type in demo. If you're live, type in live. How many of you have a Nadex account? Okay, IG index, good deal. Live, both live. Okay. Yes, but not trading yet? Okay. All right, very cool, very cool. Well, you guys should definitely get a lot out of today's session. We have Daryl Martin here that's going to bring the heat, talk to you guys about the market and how to become a better trader. Daryl, real quick, if you can, before we get started, if you want to do a quick audio test.
All right, testing 1, 2, and 3. We good?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. We're good to go. So I'm just, we had a slight issue. I don't know if some of you got the registration page that maybe said tomorrow. So there was a little bit of confusion, but glad to see that you guys were able to make it. We are going to record it and get it out to everybody. So what I'd like to do is introduce Daryl. For those of you that haven't had the opportunity to hear from Daryl, Daryl is the TradingPub's Nadex expert. And he's going to come in here. He's going to trade live. He's going to talk about the market. Daryl, yeah, he is awesome. Basically, he is an incredible trader. He's got a signal service that's done extremely well, but again has provided some outstanding Nadex education. So we appreciate him doing that. Daryl, at this time, I'll basically just kind of turn things over to you. You can take it away. Yeah, he does talk fast. That's why we're going to record it, and we'll post it on our website and email it out to everyone. So, Daryl, you can take.
All right, morning, everybody. Yeah, I do have a reputation for talking a little fast sometimes. I'm just excited. Life's too short to talk slow. All right, so let me go ahead. I know Morgan's recording this. We always have to get a couple backups just in case something happens. So we have all the videos all set. Looking for a gap fill this morning. Right now, we don't have a trade. I'll talk about why on it, but we still could have one. And so I'm going to go into that as well. And let me see here. Just want to turn this on. We all set. We just got to move down a little further, basically, the bottom line. If we're going to take any gaps. Let's see. Okay. All right, there we go. All right. So basically looking at the market this morning, and I was looking for a couple different trades. One of the trades I was looking at a potential strangle 30 early in the morning. However, the earnings for like McDonald's and UTX or whatever came out. That's two of the big companies in the Wall Street 30. When they came out at 7:01 a.m. And so there really wasn't a good binary because binary just the intraday just opened at 8, and it wasn't a massive impact on the Dow right then. So what really wasn't just the opportunity that I was looking for right at that moment. So I went ahead and did not take that trade. This morning was looking for gap fill trades, and I usually like to see the S&P have a big enough gap if I'm going to take the gap fill trades. And a gap fill trade is simply a trade from the close of yesterday to the open of today for the pit trading hours. Okay, so it's obviously futures open right back up in the evening, but the reason that this works a lot of times is basically the stocks traded overnight. There's a bunch of orders that didn't get filled, and the market exists for one purpose and one purpose alone, and that is to fill orders. And so those orders didn't get filled, and this is a way that basically allows the market to go back up and start filling those orders. So that's what it's doing right now as you see these gaps trying to go in and complete. They're trying to basically get all of the orders right here on the 2,000 stocks in the Russell and 30 stocks in the Dow. Actually, the Dow's already done its gap fill, but it was so tight. couldn't really take advantage of it. And then the S&P, the 500 stocks in the S&P. So there's all these shares in here on stocks that are trying to get filled that didn't get traded overnight. People don't have extended trading hours, whatever. Stop losses getting hit on the market open. So there's all sorts of things happening. And Google came out last night after the bell, blew away expectations. It flew extremely far, extremely fast. And we were actually able to go in and hop in and take advantage of that one. And we're going to check out potentially doing one on NASDAQ as well. So we'll see. We did that last night. We took advantage of, basically, people go, I want to trade the stocks and on these binaries, and Nadex doesn't have those, or, I hear that one now and then. I got that one yesterday. It's okay that they don't have everything. You don't need everything. You don't, it doesn't really matter. There's ways to trade it. Like I traded Google yesterday by trading, the US Tech 100. And so, example, we had several trades yesterday on the signals, and we went and had a short trade. That one didn't work out, and then we did 2 other trades, which combined risk was $150 even if you include all exchange fees. And we netted it out, $1,200 profit on one, lost 73 on the other, on $150 risk. So overall for the day, it was like we made 1126, but very, very small risk. And basically just went into the strangle about an hour or so before the close, with the expectation that Google would move the NASDAQ. And it, of course, did, because Google moved like 30 points, 35 points. And Apple consensuses are all over the place. So, there's literally there's people thinking can hit it by 12%. There's people thinking they're going to miss expectations by 12%. So that's just a massive, massive variance. And so that should be some good volatility at the end of the day. In addition, today what we have going on is the interest rate for Canadian dollar is going to be released here in about 23 minutes. So we're going to check that out for a potential USD CAD trade. And the other trade that we're going to look into is, more of one to leave you with. We'll put it that way. We may even find one. But around 1 o'clock or so, the House is supposed to be voting. And who knows, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later, but they're supposed to be voting on their whole debt ceiling extension, which is no budget, no pay, where the House is basically saying, hey, we're going to pass this thing that says we'll go ahead and extend the debt ceiling by 3 months. We're not asking for any cuts. All we're saying is if, basically no budget is passed by April 1st, actually I think this will extend it like into May. If no budget is passed by April 1st, then nobody in Congress gets paid until we pass a budget. So a lot of people said, hey, well, the Constitution says that you can't change congressional pay until the next, House election. They're like, hey, we're not changing anybody's pay. We're not saying anybody's not going to get paid. We're just saying that all pay will be put into an escrow account until basically the Senate decides to actually pass a budget. And they said actually based on the chamber. So if the House passes one but the Senate doesn't, then, there you go. And the House has to make a budget and the Senate has to modify it, approve it, change something, whatever, and they go back and forth. Anyways, it's going to be shape up to be a very interesting deal. And they're going to pass it. And basically what it does is going to put the focus on the Senate, because if you don't pass it, it's like, hey, we're giving you like 4 months to figure this out. And despite that, the only reason you not take this deal is because we don't need to have a budget. And they're like, every other citizen in the country has to have a budget. Why shouldn't we have to have it? That's the argument. Not talking really either way on this. If you listen to my radio show, I have a radio show every day. If you listen to that, you know where I stand. But, basically, I think we need to get our whole house in order. And, from the one end to the other. But, anyway, so that should, prove to be a market mover. I'm sure this is already cooked in a little bit, but it still doesn't mean that the market doesn't move. And so that's where like a potential strangle play could actually happen today on the when the vote news comes out. Got passed. So then now he'll still have to go to the Senate. The Senate will have to do whatever they're going to do with it. So that'll be interesting to see just what their reply is. But it's sort of hard to argue with. We're giving you these months, so long as you agree to pass a budget, and actually we're giving it to you anyway, even if you don't pass one, it's just going to get paid if you don't. All right, so as you can see, market's not totally filling the gaps. What I do like to see on the gaps is I like them to be at least one, if not two strikes away, and but never more than one deviation away. So the deviation is huge. If it's more than a deviation, I'm definitely not going to take it, and that is a big rule that I use. I use my deviations on about every trade I make. Actually, they tie in somehow, and I don't know if y'all have heard about them before. I know some of you in here have. And let's see here. Let me pull them up real quick. Let's pull up the market because we got US CAD coming up right now. Euro USD. I was looking at it earlier this morning. I could pull it up, and a lot of things are pointing south. So on the Euro USD, they could definitely about 5 a.m. this morning. I was looking sort of south, and one of my students, student, but he also is a student of Apex, and he trades Apex all the time, very successfully, and probably one of the most successful track records I think I've ever seen in trading using the Apex system. And he sent me his update on this morning and said, hey, we're looking for a potential south move on Euro USD today. So let's see here, but before we focus on Euro USD, he was bringing on. So about 5 a.m., market was right around its top, pushing on down right now. All right, let's check out. Okay, one of the trades I've talked about this morning. There's so many things we can do. So, and I know we're gonna keep this webinar sort of short, but let's see. You got U.S. Canadian. Okay, so let's look at this because it's gonna come out in 20 minutes. And I was looking for the gaps, but they're just right now they're not there yet. Doesn't mean we can't come back. And by the way, you don't have to enter a gap on the open. Okay. So like this gap has not filled. Now this one is filled on the NASDAQ. The Russell hasn't filled. The Dow has filled on its gap. Okay, and it really didn't have much of a gap, but that one filled. But we still got these two right here that have not filled. So there's still gap trades existing. And if they get far enough away, then we could have a potential gap fill trade still. So we'll keep an eye on those. We're going to come back to them here in a second. But first thing I want to look at over here, and I'm sure if you're on this webinar, you already got the link. Is that right, Morgan? On how to get into our website and get access to all the tools for free that we have in here and take advantage of all the stuff. We got an interest rate decision coming out on the U.S. Canadian, and the expectation they're going to leave it flat. Okay, there's no big surprise expected here. If it did change, that would rock things. I mean, you can see they sort of left it at 1% for a long time. We'll see things change anytime soon. They're one of the few that have actually raised their interest rates, so which is totally crazy compared to everybody. I mean, which is smart but crazy compared to everybody else. And given the Canadian dollar strength in the midst of everything that's been going on, so the expectation is they're not going to do anything, but that does give again strength to the U.S. Canadian. And if you want to get information really fast, you can go straight to the release URL right there. I'll take you right into it. Rate announcements come at 10 a.m. Automatically view the rate announcement the moment it is published. So if you click right there, now it literally is just waiting, like it'll auto refresh. And this is the fastest way to get news. Okay? There's all these, like right here, we plug in a couple different economic calendars. Forex Factory is a real popular one. The problem with Forex Factory is it's a real popular one. And so if you go on there, if you've ever been on there and tried to refresh a news announcement when it happens, okay, then like a lot of times the page can be down, Forex Factory is too busy, it can take a minute or two before the data shows up, and you need to be watching the chart anyway, but sometimes we want to make that trade like right after the news announcement comes out, so you need speed. And so again here, it'll actually give you the link directly to the release, and it's nice when they do something like this because it's going to live update for you, okay? And so both of these are important. The rate announcement is going to be, in some ways, a little more important to make sure it's at 1 a.m. The monetary policy statement, since nobody knows what's going to be in it, is going to be more important, but trying to read that thing in a matter of like 30 seconds without a, an algo going in and reading, that's pretty hard, okay? So yeah, just go right here on our website under helpful links, economic calendar A, okay? And then right here under, because it's really important that you learn how to do this. So if I ask you this link for this one decision, and I don't mind, I'll give it to you, but I want you to know how to get it. And then just expand it right there, okay? So interest rate decision, and then click on the release URL. And then it'll say to automatically view it, click, here. So that's where you find that, just for anybody else that needs it. But again, I want you to know how to get it so that way you have it for future announcements. Whenever I look at gaps, that's a good question. I'm always looking, about 15 minutes. I'm always looking at the settlement price, which is huge. Do not be looking, okay? Do not be looking at the close, no price, okay? Look at the actual settlement price. And so right here, actually post the settlements right there, okay? So you have that, you can take advantage of that, you can use them, you can put them in your platform. There's a lot of ways to do it. But a tip for you, if you will put charts on a daily, most charts, TradeStation, Thinkorswim, Ninja, they'll actually show the settlement price on a daily bar, okay? As long as you have like a regular trading hour session put in place. Intraday bars, a lot of times they won't show it, okay? So yeah, Russell is really getting hammered right now. I'm sure it's having some negative earnings. This is, this is really interesting. We're seeing the Dow move up. We're seeing the Russell move down. So we're seeing some divergence. But let's go ahead right now and let me pull up a US CAD chart. Okay, so we can keep our eye on this. And here we go. About 13 minutes till the news comes out. Let's see here. Get rid of that for a moment. And we're about to be releasing this new version, so I'm pretty excited about that. Oh, the software that I use every day. Those who have been on our webinars will appreciate this, just because it makes it it is not the right font. Arial, maybe it's all one word. There we go. All right, because it'll make it a lot easier to see the apex pattern. And then let's see here. All right, so what we're looking at is a move, at least we're basically right on settlement, which is perfect for trading the USD CAD, okay? Because it makes it really easy to pick strikes. So now we're going to hop over to the Nadex platform and pull it up right here, okay? Yep, T minus 10. Going over here, we can get our chart. We don't need the whole thing because we're just looking for movement right now. There is a bullish tendency right now set up on the apex pattern there, but news trumps everything, okay, for at least 15 minutes. I would say for the entire day. You always follow the charts, but just be aware that you can get a perfectly healthy checkup at the doctor, but if you don't look both ways before you cross the street and didn't notice the news of that bus coming, then it will kill you. So make sure you are watching the news, okay? And I don't mean bobbleheads on TV, by the way, okay? I'm talking about when you're trading U.S. CAD and you don't know they're about to release their interest rate. I mean, you're just asking for a problem, okay? All right, so we have that, and we're going to go ahead and click right here so we can at least see this right here. Again, we won't have time to read the report in time. So now we're going to go ahead and look at potential trades for doing this, okay? Because it's coming out in about 10 minutes. So let's see here. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Forex binaries. Now we can also do spreads. So we'll take a look at both if we have time here. US CAD. We're going to go to, we know it's coming out in a few minutes, so we actually have a couple choices. We have a lot of choices. One of them is we can go look at the short-term binaries on Nadex, okay? These aren't open yet. They're actually going to open right after the rate announcement. So you could look at these right after the 10 to 12 if you were looking for ones that had like 2 hours till expiration. These are going to expire at the announcement, so they are going to be useless to you. Do not trade them, okay? These expire about an hour after. The advantage is they're only 10 pips wide, and they don't have a lot of premium built into them, okay? So that does give you a nice advantage. The disadvantage is they only have 1 hour to move, okay? So let's go ahead and we'll look at some intradays and we'll look at some daily possibilities. So we have our target strikes of at least 99.40 and 9900. Okay, so knowing that, hey, that's how far we're expecting it to move. So 9900, 9940. Okay, so what would be our combined risk on these two trades? Let's go ahead and look at that right now. This would just be, if we want to do a strangle. Okay. And open the same one twice. There we go. All right, and combined risk on that. Let's look at a single contract. We're looking at $23, $15 on this contract, $8 on this contract. So really not a bad risk reward ratio. Okay, 23, $24. And so I like those odds in the sense of I have a full, I have a half deviation. I have an hour for it to hit it after an interest rate announcement. Okay. I would usually expect Canadian dollar to get stronger simply because they're not weakening their interest rate like half the other countries in the world. But they could have something negative in their rate statement that comes out that could cause it to be a little nuts. So so we have that one, and you can see it's already now use Canadian. Now stronger Canadian means it goes down, by the way. All right. So because that means the U.S. is going down, so the Canadian is getting stronger compared to it. So it's just it's important to be aware of that. And yeah, so right now it's already picked up a little bit in value on that buy side. So that's a potential trade setup that we have. Okay, and these things can get really volatile here, especially in the next 5 to 7 minutes. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and actually place this trade. Okay, and still not a bad risk reward. And again, I'm going to buy the 99.09. I'm going to sell the 99.39. Okay. So we go over here and give me 1 second. All right, USD. Okay, so it's coming down a little bit for us. That's good. And why haven't I not hit the button yet? Because I am telling all my subscribers about the trade before I do it. So I just gotta get it all typed up. And it does take me a couple minutes, but it's okay. That's why I have a plan in front of the trade. And every once in a while, I may miss a trade, but that's okay as well. Got to be okay with missing a few. All right. Oh, good. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Let's go ahead. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take it. We're going to take this one as well. Okay, now that we've placed those trades, that's a strangle before the news announcement, okay? And so we got filled on them. And I'm just doing it really light just to show you exactly how this works. So a lot of times I'll go in and I'll do 20 contracts, whatever, on trades. But sometimes it makes it a little, people are like, what, do I got to do 20? And, so, I'll do a lot more volume, but this gives you a good idea, a good learning lesson. And it's only one, I mean, it is a Fed announcement, but it's only one announcement. It's not a massive change expected. Okay, in the next 4 minutes, the announcement's going to come out. So with my total risk on this trade being $20, okay, what is it? $14.50 plus $7.50. So almost, a little over 20 bucks. But really not that much risk on the trade, so you can just add it up. The way to easily calculate that risk is when you're buying the quote, so when you're long, your average price, that's your risk. Okay, so if the quote is 14 bucks and 50 cents on this side right here, and I'm buying, that's my risk. Okay, I'm selling, the quote is my profit potential. Okay, again, that's my profit potential. And so that's why when I look at this, I instantly know what my max risk is, because I'm like, okay, well, if I can make 92.50, 100, and the maximum value of a binary is 100, then 100 minus, or 92.50 is my risk. Because 92.50 is my profit potential, so the difference between 100 and 92.50 is my risk on a sell. Just like $100 minus 14.50 is my profit potential on a buy. All right, so let's go ahead and put this in right here. Now we want to do is set take profits, okay? We're going to set take profit on this one to sell it out at 43, okay, on the buy side. And just a quick, easy way to do the trade. So we're going to sell it out at 43, okay? And then on this one, we'll go in and we're going to click on the open position next to it. We're going to buy back the sold one at 57. Look at that. Now they're both making money. There we go. There we go. I think they just took profit. There you go. Wow, that's some extreme volatility if we actually got out of that trade. Let's see here. Or did I make a mistake? Wow. I think somebody filled me on accident. I don't know what happened. That's just odd. Okay. I just made money on the trade, so that's strange. These are the buybacks. Let's put another order in. Okay, we sold that for what, 92.50? You're not gonna get filled for 92.50 right now. There it goes back. So why the exit numbers 43 and 57? I'm gonna throw one more of these on here, just because that's odd that it got filled that fast. I mean, I'm not complaining. I just made more money than the whole trade cost. But let's go ahead and place the order. See if I can get filled on this. We got that's on our sell side. We have 2 now. Now we're gonna go over to our buy side, and we're gonna go up into the 939 again. It's moving up a little bit. I'm gonna watch this here. Stick with the plan I gave you, okay? This is a live account, so I usually trade live. What's the point? I'll do demos if I'm testing things out. I recommend you do demos whenever you're watching somebody trade. Uh, but let's see here. So now let's go ahead and let's just watch what happens. Okay. And yeah, let's get that chart visible. There we go. All right. So bank maintains target rate, and wow, it's moving really fast. Let's see here. Yeah, we got a spike in there. It's hard to see. Not a massive one though. There we go. Okay, so on your buy side trades, you should have already got filled. Your profit should have been taken on the trades. Okay. Did everybody take their profits on this? Sweet. Lunch is now covered by Daryl. All right. Now, is there any reason on the sell sides? Is there any reason to close that out? Okay. So yeah, everybody should have just made money on that. We got in, we got out, boom, done. It's fast, easy trade. Okay. And you can't make it. I mean, is there any reason to close out the other side? Yeah, it's fun. I love popping in and doing these trades. Yeah, there's no reason to close out the other side. If it's at max loss, profitable, I'm not sure. So we'll make sure you know why before the webinar is over. If it's at max loss on the sold side, no reason to get out, okay? Because it could come back. The USD CAD could easily retrace back to where it was. Yeah, still, you're talking a 30 pip move in like a millisecond, but I mean, it still could come back over the next hour. All right. So, but a very simple, very quick trade. We weren't guessing. We weren't just gambling. We weren't just throwing caution into the wind, which is what a lot of traders do, a lot of binary traders especially. We had a very specific plan. So, yeah, gold is a great one to trade on currencies as well. So on certain currency announcements. And yeah, we'll pull that out. It's a great one to bring up there, Dan. I had short gold this morning also. But yeah, it's like 5 a.m. But yeah, it's been moving on down. Okay, so let me make sure I catch up on everybody's questions over here. Now, if a trade pops back, and you should not expect this on an interest rate decision, okay? Usually interest rates, you're going to get a big boom, all right? But on some of the markets, it'll come back down and give you a second entry. And if that happens, what I do is I like to go in, and when it comes back down, I'll buy the strike that it got to, okay? And then I'll look to exit when it gets there, all right? And so to come on back to the question that came in earlier, which is why do we do 43 and 57, okay? The reason we did 43 and 57, by the way, there's some people still waiting to get in at 17. A little late. All right, so yeah, so if you have a trade on, it's over. And let's see here. Um, when there's three prices you can count on that you can guaranteed count on in binaries. At expiration, that'll be worth either $100 or $0. Okay, that's two things. The third thing is when the strike price is at the money. Okay, then you can guaranteed know that it's going to be worth $50. Okay, give or take a couple bucks, whatever. So if we go right to the dailies, I can tell you right now, just by looking at, I mean, obviously we have the chart up, but it's going to be somewhere between, a little bit higher than 99.60 because look at this, right around $50. Okay, it's always going to be at $50. Like if it's at 99.60, this would be, basically straddling $50. So in between 50, so it'd be like 48, 52 or whatever it was. Like right now we have about 4, 5, 6 point spread depending upon. There's a lot of volatility obviously because we just had interest rate happen. But yeah, that one just kind of felt like I was like, wow. Anyway, so the reason I get out there is, and on interest rates, we could have kept writing it. We also could have done spreads. We just didn't have the time to put it all together. But is when it hits that strike, I want to get out. And I'm aware there's a bid-ask spread, okay? Right there, so the difference between the bid and the ask, or the bid and the offer, bid-offer spread. Okay, so I got to account for that. So even if we're at 50 when it hits my strike price, which was the implied deviation level, then I expected, there's, let's just say 6 points. Because, I mean, there's news. When news happens, bid-ask spread gets wider. News sort of causes it to become, big-ass spreads. And so you go in, and it's 47.53. Okay, if you just say 6 points. If you're straddling, $50 is the price you should be at when the underlying is at the strike price. Then you got 47.53. Okay, so 43 for your sell side, 53 for your buy side. Now, nothing personally pisses me off more in trading than seeing a winning trade turn into a losing trade. And so, we went and we had like the 99, 39 strike or whatever we had earlier. What if it went to 99.37 and fell? I mean, that just, talk about a, thing will piss you off, okay? You don't want that to happen. And so what I do is I basically give up a few dollars. So I know I could get out like at 47, but I give up like $4 because if it gets close, like if it's pushing right towards my strike, I'm able to get out. I do this on the gap fill trades too. And a lot of times I'll get filled on the gap fill trades. It's like still a point and a half left by doing this rule. And yeah, I'm giving up a few bucks, but I don't want to be greedy. Okay, I'm making 100% or 200% on a trade. And our risk on the trade when we got in was $22. On outside of the trade was 43. So I mean, we made 21 bucks on 22. That's okay. Let's see here. And check out what we got going on. What do we got here? Try to see. Okay, but I mean, does that make sense of why we got out at that price? Mike? See here. I guess that makes sense. But all right, let's see. Okay, I'm trying to see if we got any other questions on that right there. Okay, good, Mike. Mike. Okay, so Mike Chandler, I think I got you on the 43.57. Mike G. I don't want to mispronounce your name, so I'm going to say Mike G. And okay, still trying to figure out how did I pick those strikes. Okay, This is where I picked the strikes. And yeah, it obviously went further. Yeah, we could have made more money, but who cares? We made 100% in like, what, 3 minutes. So, but how did I pick those strikes? And what, basically I need to have a plan, a consistent daily plan. And it's very, very simple. What I have is called diagnostic deviation levels, okay? And what these are I take the implied volatility, okay, out of the underlying market, out of the options. And actually go in and pull the implied means expected, volatility means movement. Like the implied volatility on Google told me yesterday, it should move $35 up or down once the earnings come out. So I know that. So I'm like, okay, well, $35, that should be a pretty significant push on the NASDAQ. Sweet, let's go ahead and play it, So you can actually extract implied volatility, if you know how to do it, out of the options. I actually take it out of 16 options, okay, not just one. And then I actually weight them based on open interest, volume, month, time to expiration. I look at a lot of different factors and basically come with a volatility index. And then with that volatility index, I then tie that into a proprietary deviation formula that's made just for one day. One of my mentors, Floor Trader on the CBOE, taught me how to do this. And I got the idea literally 5 or 6 months ago. I was like, I wonder if we use this to trade Nadex, how that would work. And so I started posting the levels. And it worked really well. Like I'd used it for a lot of other strategies. And I'm like, I thought this could work pretty good. And so I tried it out, put it on there, and we started putting them up there. It's sort of funny, you can see the progression right here on the site. I want to say this is like September is when we made it like public. So I started posting them like every that's not even there anymore. That one's there. So we start posting these levels up every day. I mean, I'm manually doing this, okay? And then eventually it gets to live, so it's automatically updating it. And now we actually feed them directly into Ninja because I got really tired of plotting these things every day. And by pull the applied volatility, basically what happens is there's multiple levels. And I have like some tutorials on here and some things like that. But we're going to go into them a lot more tomorrow morning as well. But basically one deviation, it should encompass, there's only a 32% chance it'll break out of one full deviation, okay? And so that's a 6% chance it'll break out of a half deviation. So that's a pretty good probability trade, okay? So 66% chance it'll touch it, break it. I can use that and, take advantage of it. So, but basically I put that together, and then I got 0.7 and 1, so there's a lot of different ways I use them. And let's see, I mean, make it go to 2, make it a 3, by the way. There's only like a 0.3% chance it'll break out of a 0.3 deviation level. And this is not standard deviation. It's not pivot points. It's not ATR. All those are historical. Every one of them are historical. It's not fibs. Fibonacci's are cool, and I do use them. A little different than most. So it's that's a whole different session. We've been talking about doing that for a while. And so I go into it and basically explain it. But I mean, check that out. It's very helpful. Different ways to use it. A quick summary, I guess, for you is one. I use them. I pretty much always use them to pick my strikes. Okay, so if I'm going to go in, I'm going to pick a strike. I'm going to use the deviation levels on that. Let me connect that for us and turn it off when we're doing something else. So what I'll do is I'll use them 1 to pick strikes. I'll use them 2 to tighten stops. Okay. So when they're actually breaking through levels, and one of the big things I really like to look at if I'm tightening stops, and I'm going to work on actually automating this, but I actually like when it breaks through it to use the 10-minute bar to tighten my stop. So I've just found that's very, very effective. I call these deviation levels out live on my radio show every day, and we go through and we talk about them. And I've just seen like day after day after day, you know, how the 10-minute bar really is a great area to set your stop. Now, I don't use 10-minute bars to trade, okay? They're not bad to use. I use, you know, the diagnostic bars, the Renko bars. And so you can see, I mean, we were only targeting this. I mean, it busted to 1, and then look, it stopped like right at 1.5. And you'll see that over and over and over again, that these deviation levels are and understand like a 0.5 to a negative 0.5, that's half plus half. That's 1 deviation still. So this move all the way back up is a full deviation move. And you can see how this, I mean, turns on the levels. And I'm sure there's some people in here that use them. Okay, good question. How do you tighten stops on Nadex? Okay, the way I tighten stops on Nadex is I have to manually do it. Because you can't put a stop order in. You can only put a limit order in, Shane. I'm not sure that's why you're asking the question. So I'm going to have to be basically babysitting the trade. And the way that I babysit a trade, okay, so let's pull that up. I'll show you. Is I basically just do an out-of-ticket window, okay? So let's say I have a trade on right here, and I can do this from my open position. So I can swing some stuff around here, and it doesn't matter. All right, hold on. I'll show you how to use a stop on a trade. Sort of a cool little trick. Now this has worked, and I know other traders have used it. It's a little different, okay? We got some trades on from yesterday. That we were messing with there. All right. Anyways, so let's check this out. I think that was from last night whenever I was doing the Nadex webinar. I was talking about how to trade the morning session. I said US Canadian was what we were going to trade this morning. And so I was showing an example of how to take advantage of it. But I would tell people not to place that trade because you need to wait for the news to be close to coming out. All right, so there's 2 ways. One, if you click on the green arrow, it opens in the opposite direction, but it's locked inside the window, can get lost, whatever. If you have multiple screens, it's especially helpful. Do tear off ticket, okay? And so I go in here, and here, let's just buy one real quick. Buy something that's pretty cheap. All right, so let's say we think it's going to be below 98.79, okay? Or 98.59, there's no reason to pick that. So right here, we go in, we pick this with, place order, okay? All right, so the trade's in there. Obviously, this is demo. I'm not recommending anything. I hope people aren't repeating this. All right, so right here, and by the way you know it's demo, just look at the color of the platform. So somebody's doing some sort of Nadex webinar, and they're using the light blue platform, which isn't bad. I mean, like right now, I'm showing you how to do tickets. This is demo, okay? Color. See the dark blue? Live. So silver and blue, dark blue. That's how you know demo versus live. Also, right here up in the URL, it says demo. It doesn't say demo up here, okay? Anyways, so do tear off ticket, all right? And so we sold this thing for 95 bucks, and we're going to buy it back. So you can go in here and go, okay, we'll buy, put in your quantity, 2, 3, and one, you can put in your buyback price, like $5, okay? So I sold at 95, I want to buy it back at, 5, that'd be great. Hit place order, now it's a working order for me, okay? But if I go down here, now that I have a working order, I recommend you have the limit order first, okay? But I can go again and I can tear off the ticket, okay? And now it's an amendable ticket that I can take out of the window, okay? And I go in and let's say, I'm actually willing to get out, below, like we said, ideally I want to exit at, 57, okay? But I have the order down there at 5, so if it just pops, hey, that's great. Now, understand, binary can be crazy. So this is a way to do this. But I could go and I could put this thing at 57. I could maybe say, I don't. If I do get out, the highest I'd want to buy back is 65. So as it's moving, I can leave it there. And let's say it gets down to 30. Okay. If I hit them into order, it's going to fill me, as long as there's any quantity available, it's going to fill me at the best quoted price on the screen. So I do recommend that you be okay with whatever fill price you put in. But I know some guys who go in to do a true market order, and they'll put a sell at 99 and a buy at 1 because it'll fill them at the best price. So that works unless there's no quantity, and then you could actually get filled at that. But basically, it's a limit order. So this means at this price or better. And so if we, to give you a different example, where there's actually a little bit of, we maybe just killed there we go. All right. So a different example would be, I'm willing to buy this right here. And if I want to turn this as a market order, watch this. I'm going to put the order in at 50. Okay. So 10020, right? And watch what I get filled at. Okay, so 10020, 50. Which 50 this is a limit order, meaning at this price or better. All right, so I got filled on it at 750, which was the best available price. Okay. Now let's go over here. Let's do this one. And this is a good example. This will actually be interesting to see. Okay. I'm going to put in 20 of these because there's only 10 available. Okay, quoted at that price at the second. Doesn't mean there won't be 10 more in another 5 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever. I'm going to put it 20 at 20. Okay? 10 of them are going to get filled at $3 right away. So we got filled at 10 right away. The other ones are outstanding. Somebody could come in, they're smart especially, and they could fill me at that 20 order because it's a limit order. I'm saying, hey, I'm willing to take this price or better. So if somebody wants to fill me at $20 right now, like if you're in the demo, you go to US Canadian, you can fill me, and look at that. Now my average price is 11.5 instead of 3. So somebody filled me. Okay? And market makers aren't trading on demo, so it wasn't a market maker. Probably somebody on the webinar. But that just jacked my price up to 11.50 because there was no quote. So I said, hey, I'm willing to take this at 20. So it did it. And I can go down here and I go, okay, well, let's look at the order history. What did I actually get filled at? I got filled on 10 of them at $20. So don't put in one that you're not willing to get filled at, but you can pad it. Okay? Like maybe I'm willing to get filled at 10. So I can put it at 10. It'll fill me at the best possible, But just in case something like that happens, because somebody wipes the book, there's still stuff there. So, and let's see here. Let's see. So does that help you, Shane, on tightening stops on Nadex? Basically, just, and see, now it's back at $3. So I sort of hose myself. Now, again, this is demo. By putting in an order at 20 if I wasn't willing to take it. So now what I could do is go down and let's go, okay, what if I was willing to take a certain price? Then, we could go in and find ones that do work for us for, whatever reason. And so let's see. So now we'll go ahead and let's say that we were willing to buy it. I mean, you'd never buy this because why buy this one for $3 when you can buy one that's even lower for $3? But this makes a good example. So now I'm going to put in 20. I'm at 5, meaning I'm wiping out the whole book. I mean, these are out of the money. They're worthless. That's why nobody wants to get inside. 10, and then what's eventually going to happen is either somebody on the webinar or the system, whatever, is going to automatically. This is a demo, so it's a little bit different. But basically, a market maker or an actual trader is going to fill me on the other side eventually. And basically, when they put that quote back up, we'll see what happens. But don't put in the order that you don't want to get filled at, okay? so because you may get filled at it. You don't want to. Like these 10 right there got filled at 20 bucks. Let's see here. So that's that trade right there. Yeah, US Canadian just taking off, still going. And then, so there's multiple means. Like I said, one, you can pick strikes, and we could have went a lot further. This is a report. Obviously, it's sort of cool when it happens fast and one-to-one. Why not? But you can go in. I mean, now you know this. It's like, wow, that's what happens when the U.S. Canadian report comes out. Sweet. I want to probably keep that one in my book, right? So you should start having a trading journal book. Okay, like I go into Outlook and actually schedule. I'm like, hey, do this trade on this day. Do this trade on this day. Do this trade on this day. And I'm like, okay, yen is going to start releasing a massive amount of quantitative easing beginning January 2014. They're already doing a lot, but they have a whole nother thing coming in January 2014. So right at the end of December, a little reminder, watch out for the yen getting pummeled, okay? So, start using your calendar, start, taking notes as you see things. And then on here, one of the cool, let's see, I'll show you this feature. This is a helpful thing that will help you out on taking advantage of this, is right here. Now that we know, hey, how this works, then you can go into all the details on it. You got the forecast. Let's see here. And by the way, notice how it hasn't updated right here. So you either have to refresh the page or go to that link, which is like what I said is the fastest thing you can do anyway. So yeah, see, they're still like waiting on getting their whole. There, I was looking at the wrong one. So they got the 1%. Bonus 6 million. So you can get the whole calendar. You can put everything together. You got the release URLs. Just take advantage of this and start putting together your book. So that way, every time that statement comes up, okay, this is how this one responds. And I did a whole webinar. We have it under bonus webinar, so you may want to check that out. Right here. Last night, I did one on like trading the morning session and one on trading the evening session with Nadex. So watch those. Because I go into the homework aspects of getting together a whole basically book of plays, and how to use the FX calendar to help you out with that. And you can use FX in a lot of ways. One of the people asked in the forum, can you help me out with this and put together the steps? We have a forum over here. You can take advantage of this. It's all free. And let's see here. Where did they put this one? Trading news events. Yeah. So right here, this guy posted. You get more information about this. So I was like, all right, so use this link, find events that have high impact. I go through the steps. I go through the homework that you should do. And then I say use the deviation levels. So, but this is the homework. If you do this every day for 3 months, okay, much of a pain as it is, pretty much almost every single report is covered over a 3-month period, which means you now have the next 9 months of trades planned out when they come out. So I'll look at the report. One of the big things, you want to go back and do the history of the report. So the question is, when I do a straddle on news, would I use a 0.05 deviation level to pick my strikes? 0.5 is my favorite because, there's like a 67% chance it's going to get hit. So a lot of times I will go for a 1 deviation, like a lot of times. But that's because I've done my research. I know how far it's going to go. I thought this was cool because I was like, hey, wow, we have a 1-to-1. And if I don't have a 1-to-1, I'm going to push it out further as long as I can see history of that. And like I use NinjaTrader because I can pull up future data, forex data. It's all free. There's a lot of good platforms out there, whatever you want to use. I use it. And one of the reasons I use it is a lot of Nadex traders, want free data. So without even funding accounts. So it's pretty cool. And but you can go in here and I can go up and say, okay, I want to pull up let's see, let me pull up a chart, and I can go over here to, what is it, dollar USD CAD, I think. So do that, and then it'll take a while, but I can go in here and I can say load the last, and I can break it down to smaller sizes, which is a nice thing. But I can say give me the last year of data on I can say 1 minute bars, 5 minute bars, whatever, and I can actually load that data. And so that way I can go, okay, well, how did the last report come out? So if I'm looking at all the reports up here, and let's see, right there, I can say, how did the last report work out? What happened? You know, and I mean, this, like, obviously it came out the same. But right there on the history, but this lets me see the dates: December 4th, October 23rd, September 5th, July 17th. So by using that, then I'm able to go in and go, okay, let me look at those exact dates of when this report comes out. It always comes out at the same time, okay? And 10 o'clock, this is Eastern time listed on here. And so knowing that, how did the market react? Did it usually take off when they did it, just like it did this time? Does it fall back? Does it move 1, 2, 3 deviations? You know, how far does it move? And if you go back and you pull at least a year, and I mean, the more data you pull, the more confident you're going to be to pull the trigger, and then probably the more risk you're honestly going to be willing to take. But I mean, you know, so, and like right here, it's all the same. So you expect them to leave it the same. I mean, they're right there. That's going to give you your data for that. But what about when they change the rate? What happened? Because eventually, you know, they could raise it, they could lower it, you know, so different things can happen. And, you know, here's where they're lowering rates: 2 to 1 to 0.5 to 0.25, okay? So now you have, okay, what happens if they lower the rate? There's a great example. Now you have over here, what happens if they raise the rate? Okay? And then what happens if they leave it the same? And by putting that, you know, as much data as you can together, I think you can get it back to like 2008 history. You know, note this, like make an Excel sheet, you know, US CAD, this is a trade, make a new tab for every one of them. And, you know, what other report comes out at the same time? Well, in this case, today, the Bank of Canada's monetary policy statement. But there could be other ones that may come out at that time, depending upon, you know, when in the year that happens. All right. Our indicators do work on MT4, some of them. We're working on reprogramming them. We're actually going to pull them off for a second because we're about to do like a whole bunch of just awesome updates. And I want to get them like redone completely. So, I mean, people that have them will have them, but we're going to have a lot of new stuff in. The reason is we're going to build basically Nadex into Ninja. And that's where we're going right now. So, like, literally, we're going in right now, and I can show you. I sort of tease people with this all the time, but it is real, and it's pretty cool. We have all the data feeding live, and now we're working on, just like what you're seeing right there on the deviations, that comes from our server. So we can feed stuff into the server, and we have all of the Nadex data coming live into our server. So it's really not a big step to add in Nadex. And we're going to pull it. We're actually working on an API right now. I set some stuff up with the programmer last night for that. And let's see here. You can go over here. And not all of our stuff is available, by the way. The deviations don't live feed into MT4 yet. That's probably going to be our first priority. We're going to get them into MT4, Metastock, TradeStation, and a lot of other platforms. It would be the first thing, because they're so massive. Every single trader that I talk to, I mean, every one of them loves them. And let's see here, if we go into, I think the best way to show you this. But basically, we want to build in, you know, our bars, our apex pattern, our deviations, our indicators. So we're wanting like everything to be built in. But one of the things, this is the Nadex thing we're working on adding right now. It's going to take time. I mean, it's a lot of work to do all this stuff. I don't program any of it, but we have some very cool people that can do some amazing stuff. Like actually plotting in the box spread. It's going to put in all the binaries. You'll be able to buy and sell directly from Ninja. Just buy, boom. Initially, there'll be an out-of-ticket window feature, and then it'll go direct to API, where they'll have your statement and everything. So everything will be like right here that you need. So that is what we're working on right now. And so over here, like we have the spread scanner. So if you haven't checked this out, definitely hop over here. And This actually is pulling all. This is one of the ways you could have traded the USD CAD, by the way. Okay, so you could have went over here and said, I want to trade the CAD, and you could have said, you know, actions. You could have done a straddle, and it'll actually. Now, right now, it went up so far. I wanted to pull it up. We didn't quite have time, but it'll actually show you the risk reward on every single spread in Nadex live. And then if you want to execute a trade, you can literally hit the button right there, and it'll open the ticket for you in the platform. Okay. And let's see. Let's get a little not as drastic of an example. All right. So it's not as still. Let's just find something that gives us a balance. All right. So we'll say I want to be able to make $2 for every dollar at risk. I don't want to risk more than $100. I want at least an hour till expiration. Boom. Okay. There's your spreads. I want to, sell the market. Just, throwing an example out there. All right. There are 3 spreads that meet these qualifications. Okay. And instantly you can see, okay, this spread expires in 84 minutes. It has to move 1.5 points to be break even. Okay. Has a $17 risk, $89 or $80 reward. And this is factoring in, by the way, Nadex exchange fees. These two both expire at 4:15. They both have the exact same distance to break even. They both have the exact same risk. This one can make more money. So this one also has the best reward to risk ratio. So out of all 3, with only a 1-point movement required, more time, a better use of money, this is your trade right there. So, and then you just click it. So now instead of going through 26 possibilities, a buy and a sell on 13 different spreads, in a matter of a few seconds, it will find the best spread. Now, the spread doesn't tell you direction. This is once your chart tells you direction, or the news, or whatever, then you can do this. Now, you can also use it to straddle. You could go in here, and you could say buy here, sell here, and now you've just made a straddle with a $40 risk and an $80 profit potential on either side. So you could do the same thing on the US CAD right before it came out. So what's a straddle basically is where the floor of the bought one, 1485, is the same as the ceiling of the sold one. So really this is a short butterfly. And that's essentially what it is. So long butterfly would actually, and I know it sounds backwards, but would actually be where if you went in and you sold this and bought this, and as long as it stays within the range of 1483.5 up to 1486.7, then you could actually profit on the trade. So it's actually one of the coolest neutral strategies. We've been working on these a lot. Let me show this. This is really cool. Okay, so let's say you're somewhat neutral on something. Like let's say we think, and it'd be sort of dangerous to do on a day like today, when you just did that massive report. But just as an example, actually, let's just find something else. Somebody's going to do it. So I did a report on, I don't know, let's see. There we go, US yen. All right. But yeah, by the way, see the one deviation bounce. I mean, it's insane. It surprises me every day how accurate they are. Okay, this is a very cool thing you can take advantage of. 10 to 12. That's not gonna be good. No. Oh, let's go there. Use the yen. There we go. Okay, so you could go in here and you could actually buy and sell, which is backwards. Okay, but check this out. That's a little bit much. Let's go over here and do sell on this one. There we go. Bounce it out. Oh, it's not gonna work. The lower one. Okay, so let's buy this one. That's sort of going crazy. Okay, this is a great example. This will work good. All right, the most I can make combined is $50, and I might even choose one strike higher. But we'll just leave this. So I can make $50, $24.50 plus $32 if it expires between 88.52 and 88.67. This is usually a very short term. So, but a lot of times, FX goes flat, especially later in the day. And, but if one side wins, it'll cover, risk. So it'll make $32, this one will lose 75. Let's say this side loses, okay? So that brings my risk down to about 40-something dollars. All right? Well, 32 minus 75 minus 32 is 43, right? Well, my profit potential is $56. Okay? If this one wins and this one loses, then it's, I'll make 24, I'll lose 68. So I net out at $44 loss. But I had a profit potential of 56. So this is actually a premium collection strategy. It's sort of like an iron condor, but it's a butterfly, just the way it's structured. Good. And I can go into whole lessons on why it's not an iron condor. But very cool premium collection strategy. It gives you an equalized, which is very rare, equalized risk reward ratio on binaries. So we're working on putting a whole system together just based on that right there. And actually that came out of one of our forum discussions. Yes, I have done the individual stocks. That's actually how I knew that Google was going to move at least 35 points yesterday after the close. And we're going to be building it into 3,000 different ETF stocks and indexes. So, yeah, TOS is great. I love that platform. I use it for a lot of different things. They're great for like call and put options. That's really obviously their thing. But yeah, we're gonna expand it out to individual stocks, and we're gonna expand out to 40 different futures markets. Now I definitely use the Apex stuff on everything. I've used it for future stock. That's how I originally used it anyway. And but just the automation, obviously I trade Nadex like constantly, so we got that done. And there's a guy working full time right now. Hopefully in the next 2 to 4 weeks, we'll see, of getting all the equities and ideally the futures as well. They're listen to Dan. Whenever Dan's posted, listen to Dan. He's an awesome trader, Apex trader. So I appreciate all of his input. We're actually custom building some stuff into the new release based on Dan. Let's see here. Yeah, he knows exactly what he's talking about. Yeah, so we're going to be adding those to stocks. Personally, I don't like trading stocks. I think it's a crappy use of my money. So I'm getting 1,000 to 1 leverage sometimes on this. So why would I waste time with 2 to 1 or maybe 25 to 1 on day trading? Or I've had portfolio margining accounts. I'm like, it's a waste of money. But if you have at least $125,000 in the account, minimum required daily balance, never going under that by a penny even intraday, you can get what's called portfolio margining, which basically allows you for an up to 15% risk move in either direction. So $1,000 stock, you only have to put $150, and we're talking overnight, not just day trading. Okay, or max risk. So if I buy a call for $10 and the stock costs 300, and the call's out the money, then I only got to put $10 for the entire transaction. Still, leverage at the end of the day, better on Nadex. And it fits my personality. There's nothing wrong with it, but it fits my personality. Here. All right, yeah, we're going to be wrapping up here in a few minutes. But yeah, so let's I'll pull it up right now on what Dan's talking about right there. Hop on over, look at gold. So 1 or 2 final questions, and then we will be done for the day on this webinar. We do have webinars tomorrow morning, yes. So somebody posted something about a webinar tomorrow morning. If you top over our site, top right side, you'll see the link. And yeah, busted right through there. And then, let's see here, we got, hit that 0.7. Then if we look at the RSI on it, we started making lower lows without getting lower lows in the RSI. So we started getting a divergence, especially like right here. So that right there is telling you, hey, you need to tighten your stops. And then smiling, right? And then 8-day moving average closes above that, closes above the volatile trend line. Let's tighten those stops. Boom, we're out. We've locked in a nice profit on gold. And so yeah, Dan was calling that one early this morning. Got an email from her 5 a.m. It's like, hey, looking for a short. Let's see here. PB by 12. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe that's a message to Morgan. And then let's see. Oh, getting close to buying the 14 ES at 20 on the strike. Oh, okay. So that's a pull up. Okay, let's look at that real quick for you, and then I know let y'all move on in your day here. Some of you stay on here all day long, won't you? All right, so the strike you're looking at would be over here. Where is my live one? Hopping between so many different screens. Sometimes it can get a little. There we go. All right, so hop on over to the ES. There's 500. Guess we're going to have the noon expiration. And then look to buy the 489 ES at 20 on the 2 strike. Look to buying it at 20. I don't know why you would do that. Because right now it's, oh, I mean, people are buying it at 4. Trying to buy it at 4. They've all been bought at this moment. We don't know what to put at 20 though. Oh, okay. It's all the 12 p.m., so that's why I was looking at it. There's no 1489. Are you in demo? Probably in demo. On the Apex signals, is there a way to get audible alerts when they show up? Yes. Use TweetDeck. Also connect your what do you call it? Your text messaging to it. So you can set your phone to it. You can set TweetDeck to it. Right here, we have. It shows you how to do it. But right there, how to set up signals to get text messages and for phone notifications. And then under the tutorials, Twitter Notifier will put it on your screen, which I recommend you do because it's really fast. Which is to get desktop notification. TweetDeck will actually, you can tell it to make a sound. So like right here, I think I have TweetDeck installed. So I may pull it out. Oh, I'm not signed in, so that's why it's not showing. But you can go through the videos, like the last video on this page. Got so much stuff going on right now. That the last video says TweetDeck. TweetDeck for audio on your internet issue. For audio, to get audio alerts on your computer. But I literally tell everybody, like, set up Twitter, set up phone notifications, set up text messages, set up TweetDeck. So you're getting, like, in every possible way on your screen, in your ear, on your phone, so you don't miss a signal. Let's see here. No, there's no way to get it through the Ninja chart. So, because it's a binary. Now I could send like a signal to buy, ES, but the P3 signals are binary. So now once we get the P3 signals, the binary stuff built into Ninja, then yes, there will be a way to do that. There would actually be a way to auto trade it. You just turn it on and it'll bring the signal in, and then you can send it to your FCN. All right, I think that is all the questions. Have we covered everybody? Oh, are you talking about on the apex signals, not the P3 signals? Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about the apex signals. Okay. The P3 signals are our binary signals. Yes. Let's go in here and, sorry, I totally misunderstood your question. Like, we're working on that. That's a goal. Let me just pull up one. Here's oil. So you can go over here and just go to strategies and enable it. Right there. So the apex strategy, and then go to enable, hit apply, and then what it'll do is it'll have to complete an apex. So you want to turn the thing on early, okay, because you miss on a trade, but or at the close of a bar, not an update if there's no signal, and then it'll actually say buy here. It'll actually put it on the screen for you, and it'll show you like all the steps. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, definitely take advantage of that. Cool. All right. Well, I hope everybody learned a lot from it, and definitely check out our site, post on the forum, ask me questions. I think some of our greatest ideas come from just trading, together. So I love to hear ideas from students, and Apex is about free education. We have tools that, hey, if you want to take it to the next, you want to use that, great. But I like to share the education. So just like TradingPub, that's why we work together.
All right, great. Thanks, Daryl. We appreciate you being here, and we'll get a recording posted of this on our website. Hopefully later today, we'll email it out to everybody. Again, if you haven't opened a live Nadex account yet, we're going to continue to have these live trading sessions with Daryl, and you definitely want to be ready for them. So again, nice trade today, Daryl, and I'll put that link in there for everyone. We appreciate you guys being with us today. Thanks.
And ask me questions over on the forum on the website. So if you have any more that I didn't get to, just hop in there and ask. And also you can email me as well. So, but I suggest top on the forum, ask me, and I'll answer your questions. Thank you.